Okay, this is exactly how I would coach kids who are not athletic. Number one, we have to understand that it might just be maturity. It might not be athleticism. I've seen kids who, they might be an NFL football lineman one day, but they're like a little tubby kid because they're a kid, right? Now there are people, maybe kids who are overweight. Maybe we need to throw the junk food out of the house as a family and knock it off, because you're not going to compete and your athleticism is going to suffer if you're carrying around a lot of extra fat. It's just the way it is. We have got to get serious about that. Now, athleticism is also linked to coordination that comes through drill time. So for example, I am not athletic on a balance beam. My niece is. She's at Arizona State now as a gymnast. She was a level 10 all-around state champion in Missouri. Okay, so maybe your kids don't have the coordination. Little kids aren't coordinated with tying their shoe. You tied your shoe this morning very quickly. You don't remember doing it. They struggle. So that has something to do with it. So drilling the techniques that are vital, 95-5 rule, 95% of your points come from 5% of the wrestling. That's what we do at our 5-day camps. That's where our basics phase and phase 1 is on our online academy. Phase 2 and 3 are next level. Don't worry about that right now. So you might be focusing on too much, and you're not hyper focused on the impact areas, the core techniques from the common positions that really impact your career. You should do that. Once you've got some time doing cartwheels, your cartwheel looks very good. You're more coordinated. You're becoming what? A better athlete because of reps. So your athleticism is also tied probably to a lack of repetition. Sometimes also kids are not necessarily athletic because they're scared. So we want to make sure that they get unscared. So make sure that they get kids to practice with that they can beat. Secondly, make sure that, if they're drilling for coordination and they're losing the extra body fat, if they're carrying that around, they're going to now wrestle in weight classes with kids they can compete against physically. So you can make someone look like a terrible athlete because they're lacking in these other areas. So make sure we shore up all these areas. Lastly, I would say you got to move some weights. Even the kids, even the 9-year-olds, dumbbells. I think it's very important that we lift dumbbells because there's some stabilization there that we are accountable for, unlike if you're using a straight bar or a barbell. So dumbbell overhead press, bench press, basic lifts, multi-joint lifts, maybe some isolation stuff like tricep push downs or curls is good. Pull-ups is multi-joint. Your shoulders and your elbows are working, right? So you're doing more than one muscle group. So I would start to look at some of these things, and back to the mental game. You fall down, lay down, and roll over scared. But once you're a little bit stronger, you've drilled the core skills, you've hit 100 reps of everything, you start to feel like, hey, I'm not lost anymore in these major positions. Because I've counted all this out. You're going to get, roughly 4 front headlocks a match, depending upon your skill level and what age you are. You get 60 matches a year, there's 240 a year. One match you may get 7, one match you may only get 1, but, right around 4 per match. So that's a common position. So that's a common position, right? That is a common position. So from these common positions, we have 3 ways to score. I could show you 27 things to do, but most of your points come from these 3. Let's just work that. Let's not work everything else. So that's when you're going to see their mental game improve and their confidence settle in also. In addition to, so that's coordination, not being lost on the mat, losing some body fat, lifting some dumbbells, and make sure that we're wrestling kids that we can compete against so we can build up to those kids that are better than us. I think those things are all very, very vital. But that's how I would go about attacking the process of training an athlete who is, quote, not a good athlete. Good luck.